Hi, Eric. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, so just a few days. We even didn't release the last episode, but we already recorded a new one, right?
Yeah, I know. And we had audio issues on the last one. I had audio issues on the last one. That was a little bit funky.
But I really like how Jordan actually built up this music stuff and so on. It's so fun.
Yeah, Jordan's getting into it, man. He does a good job. He's worked on the Mage Talk podcast for a long time, so he's got a lot of experience.
Okay, so just should start out the show.
Loading the Loop is sponsored by Blackfire.io. I'm Eric Hileman, CEO and co-founder of Mage Mojo Magento Hosting out of New York City. The purpose of this program is to show what we've learned from over 10 years of Magento-specific hosting and evaluate some of our customers' stores. We'll share with you what we find in hopes that it may help you improve your Magento skills and the performance of your Magento stores. So along with me on this trip is my co-host, Ivan.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Ivan Chepurnyi. I'm one of original Magento core developers, now doing performance consultancy out of the Netherlands as a single-man company, helping merchants small and big. I'm actually helping everyone out there. So today we are going to review one of the Mage Mojo customers. It was kind of last-minute request from a customer, right? And Eric, tell us a little bit about the customer. What customer is selling, what they're doing.
Yeah, I actually just got this one. It's pumpproducts.com. And the issues, the issues that they've had are numerous. Let's see, let's see what all they have. They're having a lot of performance but then other things like I think they're seeing queries locking in the database, and they'll see some DB table level locks, and then that would also cause some crashes like Stratus. If Stratus detects that your database is locked up and queries are backing up, it will restart. First of all, it tries to kill those queries. So it'll detect, okay, this query is backed up, it's locking, it's blocking other queries. Let me try to kill that query. And then if it can't kill that query after a certain threshold, it will actually restart. So, and then that sends a report to the customer that says, hey, here's a list of SQL queries that were locked up. We attempted to kill them. We couldn't kill them. So we had to restart a MySQL server for you. And then that actually opens a ticket in our help desk for our support team to see it, and CCs all the customers who are on that customer's accounts if your developers are on it. And they're seeing a lot of that, but they're also like the customer report, I'll get like a 502 and can't connect, like CloudFront can't connect. But really, it's just Stratus doing health checks and keeping stores running. So let's take a look at it and see see what we can see from Blackfire. Probably be some stuff that stands out to us.
Yeah. So what I can tell you that what you explained with database logs, it actually requires more deeper look into the backend processes and seeing what's happening in the background, because maybe they have overlapping cron jobs, or maybe they have, issues with their importer, or maybe they even are not using Magento indexes with update on schedule mode. So there could be a lot of issues that could cause this weight locks
for sure,
piling up.
Speaking of crons, we just released version 1.30 of our Mage Mojo cron extension for Magento 2, and that includes fixes for the consumers that were released in 2.3. So we're wrapping those consumers and trying to control them inside of our cron, because we're seeing those running wild on M2. I think that started with 2.30. Is that right? Where the consumers came in?
Yeah, definitely. So with that version, one of my versions as well, they're running consumers, but usually consumers, they should be properly set up by themselves, they can run alongside cron jobs as soon as they're properly set up with proper configuration and so on. So let's start from profiling the homepage, right?
Yeah, let's take a look.
So I'm gonna right away disable aggregation first run. So what it's gonna tell us, it was quite fast, I think.
Before I moved to New York, I had 30 acres outside of Pittsburgh, and I had 2 wells. And a couple times I had to pull those suckers up from, I think each of them were 300 or 400 feet. So I built a medieval pulley system above them and hooked them up to a little garden tractor and pulled them up and replaced them. And I'm telling you, they are heavy with all that wire and everything down inside that well. They're not cheap either. That looks like a shallow well jet pump.
Yeah, I also have. When I was living in Ukraine, we have an outside of the city. We have a summer house. However, we are not only spending summers over there, also winters as well. But it's kind of a place where we go outside on the weekend, and there is no water pipes like in a city. So you have to drill. So you have to drill to the water yourself, and we have also there are a couple of pumps that are pumping up the water, and we also set up over there even sewage that gets cleaned up by an external service once a year.
Yeah, you gotta pump it out.
It's kind of a sophisticated system.
So you take that stuff for granted.
Yeah. And here you can see that we have actually some interesting things. So what interests me, why on the homepage there is actually the HTTP request. So is it Elasticsearch or something else? Let's find out.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of new to this one. We just got it like an hour before we were set to record, so we jumped it in.
So let's take a look what kind of oh my goodness.
What?
HTTP call to
MailChimp
API.
You don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Let me guess. So if it happens on the homepage, probably it happens on every single page. So
yeah, we really.
Why would you call MailChimp on every page in Magento? It doesn't make sense. Why would you call an API just abusing MailChimp API? And second of all, it adds a level of dependency of your Magento store upon a third-party service that might go down.
Yeah, that one. If that goes down, or if it runs slow, that's what drives us crazy. Is we'll get the report like, our store just randomly runs slow. It's got to be the server. It's got to be the server. There's something wrong with your servers. Like sometimes they're fast, sometimes they're slow, and then we find something like that. We're like, no, that's the external API call from the page. It's slow. Definitely don't do that.
And it takes kind of 70 milliseconds, and I can tell you for sure that it should vary depending on the time of the day.
Or their
latency between servers. So this is completely unnecessary to do this call on the front end. If they need to get something from the API, they better do it somewhere in the background.
Yeah.
But not on every single HTTP call, to your Magento front-end. So let's take a look where this call happens. Okay, so here is the call. And let's expand a little bit. So what it's doing, it's taking MailChimp.js. Okay. This is even more interesting. So I see right off the bat there is an issue in this MailChimp module. Who is the developer of this one? So it's Ebismarts. MailChimp.
That's pretty popular too.
Yeah. So here you can see that they use get module version. First of all, module versions has been deprecated in 2.3. So you don't have anymore to specify the setup version in your module.xml. And there is no reason at all to use this module version in the front end, because Magento uses this module version only during the setup upgrade process of the database modifications. So if you have some kind of update script to change your database structure or upload the data into the database, then you need this module being retrieved from the configuration. So Magento doesn't have any caching on top of this module version in order to be able to run setup upgrade without rebuilding configuration from scratch. And without actually having stale data from the cache. So in this case, module version, I don't know for what reason they are using it here. I expect just to notify third-party systems that, hey, this merchant has this version of module installed. It doesn't make sense in my opinion.
So that's get.js URL. Are they literally doing JS call from the server side? That can't be right. See, if you go up a little bit, MailChimp JS, get.js URL, are they really doing a server-side call to get an external JavaScript file? That can't be right.
I think they're using API in order to create some kind of a code or something like that. So could be that one. But let's actually check if this MailChimp module is actually an open source one.
I think it is.
Let's go.
I think it is.
Let's go to the GitHub and let's go into what it is. It's eBizMarts.
Yeah,
right?
eBizMarts.
eBiz.
Yeah,
eBizMarts.
Z, yeah.
Marts. Let's look for them.
I think it's okay. There it is. There. Oh wait, did they change it? It was Mage Monkey. I think they changed it to, yeah, it used to be Mage Monkey. I see that one. And then someone else, Peacemaker eBizMarts MailChimp. If you click that, maybe you can. It looks like they forked it or they cloned it, and then you could probably go to the upstream.
So you mean this one?
Yeah. Let me see. Is it? Oh, they just cloned it. They didn't fork it.
This one looks like Magento 1 module. It's not Magento 2.
Yeah.
So it could be possible it's not on GitHub. Yeah.
Let me see.
eBizMarts, MailChimp, Magento 2. Let's see. Oh, here it is.
There you go.
It's actually an official MailChimp account then. Okay.
Yeah, MailChimp sponsored it for a long time, and then if you maximize your browser, will you mess up the OBS recording? It'd be easier for me to see.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me change then my sharing.
It's okay. It's not a big deal.
No, I can just focus it on my browser window.
Oh,
Does
okay.
it work better for you?
Yeah, a lot. Thanks.
Okay, so now you can actually see it more in detail. So let's take a look at the helper. And this is called data, right? And here we probably should be able to find this.
It's like get.js URL. There it is.
URL. Okay. And oh my goodness. No way. Apart from that, they're saving configuration on the front end. So I can imagine that this customer receives a lot of flushed configuration cache on the front end. Because they're really saving configuration value into the database on the front end. And as we saw, this request actually happens on every single page.
Like this is the de facto extension if you're running MailChimp. As far as I know, like this is the one everybody uses, and there's a lot of people who use MailChimp. So we'll definitely call this one out.
Let's dive deep into the code logic over here. So if you take a look here, right, it tries to find the URL, and if it's active and there is no URL in configuration, it tries to find the MailChimp store ID. If it finds this MailChimp store ID, actually it doesn't even check if MailChimp store ID is specified. So that's why probably we see a request is, the problem is that customer didn't specify the MailChimp store ID in configuration. So this extension tries to acquire the store ID. However, they don't have even store ID specified.
Okay. So if you have the store ID configuration saved, it should not call this and should not make that external call.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem. So this is one thing. Another thing that, as soon as this one is received, it's gonna update the store configuration on the front end. And let's say if you have a multi-store website when you have 20 stores, it means that for every of the 20 stores, on the front end, on the first call of that store, it's gonna store configuration value in a database. And it also means that it also will lock your cache entries and it will regenerate them. And it's not a good approach to do it. So right away, it should be a completely different thing. It shouldn't be happening on the front end. They should do it in a cron, and they need to store first of all these URLs. If they have per store, if they have different JS URLs, it's better to create own database table for it. And then populate this database table by cron job and update URLs if needed by cron job, not by using this kind of hacky solution on the front end, because it will. We just see it right away on this merchant. As soon as merchant just installed an extension but didn't configure it yet, you are doomed, because every single time you're gonna call MailChimp API.
Yeah.
At least if they receive an error, at least they log this error, not break the website. But
yeah. Well, okay. Well, that's good. We'll tweet that one out. Make sure you specify your store ID in your eBizMars MailChimp configuration, or your page speeds depending on the weather.
So in general, this is very bad implementation.
Yeah, there is a cron. I'm pretty sure they have a MailChimp cron, so they could have put it in there.
Yeah, I don't know why they did it like that. It just doesn't make sense. And here, get API. So this is another performance issue. So let's take a look at the get API method definition. So here, okay, so then it takes API key. Oh my goodness. Do you see why they have this get module version call here?
To set the user agent?
Yes.
Just to set a user agent version. Okay.
Yeah, so this user agent, I would just completely, remove this module version from here. It doesn't make sense. First of all, it doesn't make sense from point of view of versioning of the module, because setup version is a version for database upgrades, not for the code. the code versions you usually keep in Composer, and usually you also keep it somewhere in a constant in your classes, not read it from configuration file. So this one must not be there. Okay. So let's take a look how much time it spends on this MailChimp thing. So 177 till 217. So it's probably around 200 milliseconds per page added by this. Yeah.
In the
Actually,
front end cache
300.
flush.
300 milliseconds added by this functionality from 3 seconds. So it's kind of 1/10 of the page load time on the home page.
You know, if it's setting that, if it's saving that front end configuration, is it really saving it? Because wouldn't it just save it once? Is that the intended behavior? They thought, well, we'll just get it once and we'll save it and then we won't need to get it again. But
yeah, so the basic problem is that the customer didn't configure a store key, and they didn't think about the case that someone will have their extension installed but not yet configured. And here I see another HTTP call. And strange that Blackfire actually didn't catch this one.
Whoa, curl exec.
Yeah. CDN Nextopia. So this customer definitely has a lot of weird extensions installed. So
where's the Nextopia thing coming out of? Oh, okay, they have the Nextopia search.
Is client one line code available? And then they doing this curl exec.
Oh my god!
And
more performance dependent on the weather.
Let's take a look if the Nextopia search Magenta 2. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't.
Is it free extension or not?
No, I think Nextopia is like an external search provider, so it's probably not.
Yeah, it's external search provider, but I see it's free. So maybe they have somewhere a GitHub repository, you know?
Maybe. You could do, yeah, and then it's like, yeah, there you go.
Algole is one of the top results here. Yeah, there is no GitHub URL for this one available on the first glance. So, but I would like to take a look into this code, and probably I would say again, if you need to get some URLs, do it in the background, never do it on the front end. This extension abuses this logic. So, and this one is actually even, I could understand at least if they would cache it, but here I don't see any cache calls at all. So most probably they just, for every single user, for every single request, just send this HTTP request. So it just doesn't make any sense. Okay. So, and this is, yeah, this CDN is faster than MailChimp one.
Yeah, it should be.
Still, it's not the good thing.
Although it's not really a CDN, it's just Nextopia. They're a search, so they just put CDN in it.
This is weird. This is weird.
We're back.
The
Nextopia.
They're loading all customer groups. Do you know by any chance how many customer groups this customer has?
I don't.
Yeah, so I suspect that they have quite a lot because it takes a lot of time to construct the array of the customer groups. But in the end, they're trying to find the customer group code. by using customer group repositories. That is a bad way to do it. So you need to write a query just to look it up by ID, single one, not load all the customer groups as through the option array, and it just triggers repository that just takes a lot of time. Okay, and here probably the rest of the page is just a normal render process of the home page. Yeah, form, minicart. Oh, minicart. Oh yeah, it's standard Magento issue. Something that actually gonna be fixed by the module I'm working on for customer section load, when it's gonna provide you just regular placeholders for minicart. Okay, here what we have, this is the standard CMS blocks, block directive. Okay, so they have CMS block within a CMS block, and it's called trusted brand. And this trusted brand does what? Does load of the category, and I think they could be having a couple of loads of the category. So I would take a look in their case into this trusted brand module, because it adds 200 milliseconds. It's a little bit too much. I think they could just access the needed data from the categories that are already used for a menu or something like that. So in general, yeah, this is, I think, the biggest performance issues I see. Oh, wait a second, one more. I was so fascinated by HTTP calls that I didn't take a look at this one.
Yeah.
Someone tries to access Magento version through a composer. Oh, okay. Mirror Yeah, so another nice Magento module. Compatibility service is 2.1. And this is funny. So somewhere in a constructor of a class, they trigger the complete metadata load from a composer file in order just to check is it 2.1 version of Magento. However, this doesn't make sense. So they should have specified version constraints for their codebase and branch out one branch of the code for 2.1, one for 2.2 and 2.3, if they have some kind of logic depending on a version of Magento. And honestly, I don't see any reason why this code here gets triggered on every single page. So this is another 200 milliseconds that could be completely avoided.
What, like, you've talked before about how you you override, like, or you manually hard code the version and you return it. Like, why isn't there something inside of Magento built in that you could just simply query to ask and not have to like load the complete composer metadata just to get that?
Yeah, I think it's just implementation of the framework, because the code that returns you the version of the product is within a framework, and framework tries to read the composer file, so they try to abstract it away. However, I also work on a module that would completely yes, that will actually generate a patch based on your current installed Magento version. So it will just create a patch file for that specific version of Magento.
Yeah, I mean,
you currently have. And when you do a composer install, it will update this patch file to the new Magento version as soon as you upgrade to a newer one.
Yeah, because that's what they're asking for, the marketing version. Like, they're asking for the marketing version. They're not asking for specific individual module versions, right? Because Magento releases are marketing. Yeah. It's bullshit. It's just marketing version. It's not the actual like individual component versions. And that's what they're asking for, right?
And this is a problem, like you can have different variations of module combinations in your Magento system install. Magento marketing version doesn't tell you actually what kind of functionality you have in the current Magento version. And in 2015, when Magento 2 beta has been released, and there was a lot of Magento beta meetups, and Magento was pushing hard on telling, do not depend on marketing version of Magento, depend on a version defined in the composer file of the component.
Yeah.
And that's why in the components you have versions starting from 100, and marketing version just complete product release that could be configured. Some dependencies can be specified as ignored by using composer replace, and so on. So you can never expect that something that you as an extension provider develop will have the same piece of functionality available in specific marketing version. You cannot do that. It just doesn't make sense.
And it looks like that's what they're doing. They're just checking the marketing version. They're not even like really checking a specific component, I don't think.
That's shop by.
That's our friend. That's shop by SEO.
Around add remote page asset. Remote page asset? Wow.
What is remote pages set?
Canonical. Okay. So, Amasty adds an plugin around mirror suite functionality.
Is this an extension war?
Because mirror suite using this add remote page asset. Yeah, this just doesn't make any sense.
So shop
you're
by
on the homepage.
That was that shop by SEO or just shop by? And what's the Mirasfit? Is it Mirasfit or Mirasfit? I don't know.
In Ukrainian, suite is light or world, and Mira, I don't know. It's probably something, but it's not Mira suite. It's Mira suite.
Mira suite.
So it sounds more like Ukrainian, yeah.
Mira suite.
So here we have filter list. I just don't understand why.
Okay, so shop by, but
there's no direct navigation here.
But go down. Wasn't there there? Go up. There's a shop by SEO. There, you see, Amnesty shop by SEO.
Yeah, so they have some kind of logic around the canonical URL. So you have a canonical URL for a page, and in this case, this Amasty module thinks it's on a category page and tries to add all the filters to the canonical URL that are SEO friendly. Probably for that purpose, but it's completely unneeded on the homepage. It's one thing, and second thing, it's also completely terrible implementation for category page as well, because it takes a whopping 500 milliseconds just to add this SEO URL. Because first of all, they load a complete list of all the filterable attributes, and they even sort them on the PHP side. That is a very slow process. You see here, right?
Yeah, see the use sort.
It just, like 700 milliseconds. Yeah, it's not real 700 milliseconds, but it tells a lot of relative complexity of the code. because we can see that it takes huge piece of the page load time. It's like 1/4 of the page load time spent on this CO URL. Okay, so Amasti doesn't stop to impress us. Let's go to another page. I think we've dissected homepage very well, and I can tell for sure that the homepage can be reduced to 400 milliseconds render time if
and
all these bottlenecks are removed.
And the three important things were stop making external calls, because that's blocking, and if the external calls are down, you're blocked. They also vary in performance depending on their other servers and the weather. And then the other one is that when it saves the front end cache or front end config, it flushes the front end cache every time. So that sucks.
Also, another we have here somewhere loading loop, but I don't see it in the timeline. But it's somewhere over there. You can see that catalog category flat store 1 40 times category gets loaded by ID. So instead of loading through one query by specifying all the category IDs, it does it for all categories. It's one thing. And another thing, this category is already probably loaded in the menu block, so there is no need to actually run a separate query to load those categories again. So definitely the homepage number of queries can be reduced to 60 queries on the homepage. And right now it's 103. So yeah, I don't see, complex logic over here on the homepage in order to have this number of database queries, this number of HTTP requests, and so on. So let's go into the booster pump category. This one seems like a content category, right?
Yeah.
With some subcategories listed here probably, right? Is it subcategory? Let's open it up just to check.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's slow.
Yeah, it is
subcategory.
Yeah.
So let's profile this page and see how's it going. I right away disable aggregation because I know it's going to be probably slow. So, Blackfire, please make it your default. Make it possible to set as a default option to disable aggregation right away in your Blackfire profile account.
That would be nice.
Yeah, because sometimes it doesn't make sense to profile more than once for slow websites.
Do you like my bright orange magenta mug?
Wow, that's cool. I have somewhere in Ukraine at home, I still have one of the original magenta color.
Oh, like T-Mobile pink
coffee cups. Yeah,
that's collector's edition. That's collector's item, man.
Yeah, but it's partly lost its.
You've been putting it in a dishwasher. Lost its color and logo.
Yeah. Okay. So category page, it has 3 HTTP requests. So let's see. Probably it's using Elastic, right?
I don't know.
Let's take a Elasticsearch.
And MailChimp again. Shit.
Yeah, MailChimp just gets gets a lot of HTTP calls from this store. So let's see. From the queries, I see that every single attribute gets loaded 72 times. That's not an efficient part of the Magenta functionality. Also, separately, this one is loaded. So somewhere there is get attribute by ID or something like that triggers unnecessary load for each attribute separately. Another one is category again gets loaded. Actually, category data in this case, and it gets loaded 44 times. I think it's somewhere in the musty modules. So let's take a look at the timeline. Oh, the timeline is another button. It's a little bit moved way over here. So let's go and see what's going on here. So, okay. Here we have it. And this is actually not a musty. So sorry, Musty, for bashing you. You are not
this time.
Yeah, not this time. So this is some kind of custom landing trusted brand. It's something developer did, probably front-end developer who didn't ask backend to check, hey, how can I get all the needed category data I need on this page? So every single block here related to the category, so probably this data, everything gets loaded separately. So every single subcategory gets loaded separately. This can be optimized by just loading a list of categories through a collection with the needed attributes instead of using separate category load by ID, because this one takes a lot of time, like 3.5 seconds, and it actually takes majority of the page load time. You can see it here, right?
Mm-hmm.
More than 60% of the load time are spent on these trusted brands. And here what we have as well, so generate blocks after building aggregations, Elasticsearch 5. So they didn't upgrade to Elasticsearch 6? Or it's older Magento version, probably. And right away, I just suggest this customer to install Smile Elastic Suite. It's much better from point of view of category performance. Here it doesn't look very nice. And shop by. By the way, if you use Smile Elastic Suite, you don't need shop by extension from Amasti, because Smile Elastic Suite already contains majority of the functionality you need.
It's 2.3. 2.3.0.
Yeah, so first of all, somehow it's still using version 5 adapters for Elasticsearch. And oh, this one is tough. Yeah. So basically, this is the main issue. Shop by, then this brand block that loads separately category one by one. This is a common case of load in a loop, just a standard one. So let's take a look at the page with products, right? Because this one I saw also quite slow. So let's profile this page, disable aggregation. So here is how many? 4 products, right? In this category, in total.
Yeah.
And this is quite a long time to load this page for just 4 products. So interesting to see what's happening there. Okay, so 10 seconds and 8 requests. Okay, let's go right away to HTTP request to see what's happening there. Yeah, so 5 times requests to Elasticsearch. It's probably by Amasti shop by extension. Again, loading of EAB attributes inefficient. Then loading. Oh, this is MSI actually. So this customer has some issues with MSI being enabled. Catalog inventory stock item. Yeah, so here we see also a lot of MSI queries that making this page slow.
Yep.
And if you consider that they have only 4 products, they're lucky, because if there would be more products than 4, there would be even more database queries here.
So you should upgrade, or there's patches out there. Did Magento release an official MSI performance patch for 2.3.0? Or is it just the community patches that are out there?
Oh, yeah, MSI is just... yeah, so what's happening with this MSI module? I've been working with one of the merchants on fixing MSI for them, and the problem is MSI does very strange thing. So they execute query as soon as they do some check. So they don't have any kind of preloading. They just, as soon as you ask for stock status for a product, it will try to find out what is the stock ID, what is the product, stock information in that stock, and so on. So it will just fire a lot of database queries. And what is done in the core patches supplied, what they do, they just add some in-memory cache check for, okay, if we did a check already for a product, we are not going to do this check again. But this one still actually doesn't prevent load in a loop, because it still will do for every product, it still will do database query. Yeah, it won't do it as often as it's doing for every single product. So for instance, here you can see they have only 4 products, right, on a page.
Yep.
But you can see that they are doing 32 database queries for every single check for SKU to product ID.
Is this fixed in 2.3.1, 2.3.2, or any other higher versions? 2.4?
Yeah, so this is probably 2.3.3.
It's 2.3.0 is this version.
Okay, so probably 2.3.3 gonna have a little bit less database queries. But as I mentioned before, the general problem in MSI is the design of the module itself. So the design of the module itself was supposed to be completely different. You were supposed to grab a collection of products and request stock information for this collection of products instead of doing it per product itself. So that's the problem with MSI. And for one of the customers, I was building optimizations for category pages, shopping carts, product pages, all these things, and I've built preloader for MSI data. So instead of doing it per product, I just observe a collection after load events and populate the data that is needed for other services in MSI before the service requests this data. And then I add a bunch of plugins around those services in order to return this data back. And in the end, for instance, on another merchant whom I installed this module as well, like before that, they had something like 200 database queries on a category page, and we reduced it to 55.
Oh, here we go. Okay, so let me send this in the Slack channel. Take a look at this. So the MSI GitHub wiki does have a page with performance issues, and they have 4 patches listed.
Yeah, so show tables, large number of duplicate database queries, large response time. Yeah, so this one we had. I had actually a merchant with the most recent Magento version installed, and where all those patches are applied, but there still was 200 something database queries on category page.
Okay.
And more than 200 queries. Let's say if you have 10 products in a shopping cart, there's still going to be 200 database queries, from which 100 and something are related to MSI database queries. So what I did, I just reduced those queries only to 5 queries for the whole MSI module instead of, having that 100.
Okay.
And yeah, as I said before, I had to actually do some kind of not the most elegant way to do it, because the elegant way would be actually to rewrite the complete API and make sure that they are always passing the list of the products to do those checks instead of doing it for every product separately. But I had to observe some events in order to pre-populate something and then use it at the later stage that introduces temporal coupling. But it's the only way how I was able to fix that performance issues without, breaking the functionality and introducing breaking changes into the MSI module.
Okay. So for everybody else, to apply these patches at least, or upgrade, or disable MSI. Yeah. You can disable MSI, right?
If you don't use it.
If you don't use it, okay.
Yeah. So this is that thing, right? So only 4 products and 431 database query. This is too much. So let's go to the product page, shall we?
Yeah.
And it was quite fast. So let's profile it. So uh, 259, probably again some MSI database queries. Let's take a look at the queries. Okay, again, MSI. And also some of the issues that exist in... Are you sure they're 2.3.0?
Yeah.
Because this one looks like they're running 2.3.3. Because these queries are... I had it with a recent merchant, and after we upgraded from 2.3.2 to 2.3.3, this query started to show up on every single page in Magento, and these queries were kind of a performance regression in 2.3.3. This is actually the same ones that we've seen in Scriptco. As well. This is related to this page cache get identities method. And yeah, it's introducing unnecessary database queries. But let's see what else here. So the product rendering is actually all here, but all the rest of the things are around it. And yeah, there is a lot of things happening. Again, composer repositories is something that we already saw on the homepage, so it's the same. And here on the product view, what do we have here? Oh yeah, it's layout.
Yeah, double checked. It's
again
2.30.
Interesting. Oh, probably then the regression is on category pages or something like that. I don't remember exactly what has been changed, but after we upgraded, those queries started to show up in New Relic. So, okay, here we have another one. Yeah. So again, shop by extension. We are on a product page, and it still tries to load all the filters. So it just doesn't care are you on category page or not. It's just gonna load all the filters no matter what. So there is definitely some quick wins by removing this interceptor from non-category pages, like from product page and from home page. So you can save a lot of time by disabling it. Then we have MailChimp, of course, and this time their API was very fast to respond, but still they're doing some nasty things with module version check for user agent to call the API. Okay, so what we have in the product here, yeah, review takes some time, but probably a lot of it will be not much visible when you actually just view a page without a profiler, because there is not a big overhead as I see here. Okay, so SEO markup, let's take a look at this one. Offer data, get data. Okay, so here is another performance issue. Mira Suite SEO markup module. It loads the product again on the product page. So the product is already over there, and Mira Suite decides, hey, I'm gonna load this product again. And this product load again is completely redundant on product page, right? Because we already have a product. So this is one thing. And the rest of the things are just slow down of MSI functionality, but there can be saved a lot of time by reducing database queries from MSI. Let them try to apply patches. Let them try to disable this master shop by module. And if they have an issue with it, they can always contact me.
How much work is involved? Like if you disable shop by and you enable Elastic Suite and you replace the shop by's filterable layered navigation and everything, like how much work is involved with that? I mean, is that something like the average developer can do?
Definitely the average developer can do it, but yes, the basic problem is if they modified the templates of shop by, and if, for instance, shop by actually using own templates, right, to render filters, and Magento using different templates, so they actually need to style filters output from standard Magento in order to match their design.
Okay, so it's more of a theming issue then, and not like a
Yeah, it's more of a Zimian issue, not from point of view of
Like
backend
functionality and
development.
coding and backend development. Okay. That doesn't sound bad. All right.
Okay, let's take a look at this one. Yeah, so from the backend perspective, just configuring Elasticsearch properly. That's all.
Yeah, and we do that. We'll connect it up to Elasticsearch.
Why do I profile product page again? I actually wanted to profile add to cart. Let's just close this one and let's just click this magic button, profile all requests. Okay, so all requests are profiled now. Let's add to cart. That was fast. And it was done without actually adding product to cart. So you see they do it through the JavaScript. Okay. Would I like to keep it in cart? Yeah, I'd like to keep it in cart. Okay, and now we're going into the shopping cart, and shopping cart seems slow. Okay. So let's stop a profiler and let's take a look at our profiles. So first of all, let's take a look at imports at item index. What is imports? Interesting to see what it actually does. Okay, so imports, it's some kind of custom module they have that adds asynchronously product to the cart. And yeah, oh, this customer actually doesn't use MSI. Eric.
So they can just disable it. Yeah.
Yeah. Just disable MSI modules. Quick fix.
Awesome.
Yeah. Easy. Easy. Okay. So now let's take a look at the other profile as well, right? I probably did a little bit messed up the size of the window, but now it's back. Okay, so now I can go and see what else we have here. We have also the checkout cart page as well, and definitely there is the same issues with MSI. Yeah, plenty of attributes loaded, products, and stock inventory item. Yeah, so easy fix, disable MSI. And wait a second. They also didn't optimize Composer.
What do you mean by they didn't optimize
here,
Composer?
Yeah, so when you run Magento, Magento is using Composer in order to find which class located in which file and load this class into memory of PHP. And Composer has this possibility to create a class map that would automatically tell Composer in which file which class is located without resolving it for the file system by using file exists. And here I see that there is 3297 calls to file exists in Composer that puts a lot of pressure on I/O and adds a lot of CPU load time as well. So this is something.
How do you optimize that? Like, what do you do?
You do it during the deployment. So you even Magento has a guideline how to do it. So you have to go. Actually, let's open up the Magento deployment suggestions, and we'll link it into the show notes. They have docs Magento Composer afterload. one. Composer optimize. Yeah, performance best practices. So here, if you're installed through Composer and then deployment flow, here it is. So look, process dependency injection instructions. So you first run setup di compile in order to compile all the files, all the classes that Magento is going to use. And then you have to run composer dump after load with -o flag that will tell it that it should generate optimized class maps. And it will create a file in the file systems that will be then included by PHP. And every single Magento store out there will benefit a lot by enabling class map optimization, because without it, PHP cannot cache efficiently lookups of the classes, because Composer still will hit the file system. And when you have this one optimized, then PHP will just directly take this data from memory if opcache is enabled and class is already in opcache.
Is there a check? Okay, yeah, it's confirm if APC. I see a lot of people not doing that, actually. I think a lot of people don't know to do that.
Yeah, a lot of people probably didn't read this doc on Magento Store. And the funny story, this is actually was introduced after in 2016. There was this benchmarks to compare Magento 1 versus Magento 2, and the problem is that in benchmarks no one was optimizing Composer afterloads. However, Magento 2 is heavily based on Composer, and you always need to optimize Composer afterloads in production.
Yeah.
And after that, Magento actually added it to the dev docs as a recommendation to enable Composer optimization.
Sweet. Well, that's some good big wins for this customer, man. Easy wins.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's easy wins. And yeah, so disable MSI, enable Composer optimizations, and get rid of a musty shop by.
Replace that with a Smile Elastic Suite, and then set your store ID for MailChimp extension.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that the Smile Elastic Suite is actually free.
Yeah. So, and then the Nextopia thing, we should probably ping them and be like, yo, Nextopia, like, you shouldn't be doing that external call shit. That's not cool. That's what was that? Is that an external search then, the Nextopia?
Yeah. So as far as I understand, this is something here. So let's say pump. So this provides this fast search, on the web shop. So powered by Nextopia.
There it is. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, I guess we can wrap it up and try to keep it like under reasonable amount of time this episode.
Yeah, finally we did something in a reasonable amount of time, right?
Yeah. So hit us up. We are litl@magemojo.com. And on Twitter, we'll link up our Twitter accounts. Hit us up if you have any sites that you want reviewed. We can certainly do that. We'd love to do that. Ivan, anything else before we head out?
Yeah, optimize your Composer during deployment.
Pro tip.
Common issue across everyone.
Yeah.
So, till the next time, dear viewers, thank you for watching us. This episode probably is going to be in 2 weeks, right? Being released.
No, actually, Jordan should be able to crank it out quick because he just finished the other one. So we should be able to get it out. I would hope like Monday or Tuesday if there's no issues with audio or anything crazy. So, okay. Till next time, everybody.
We will check right away after the episode. Yeah. Bye. Till the next time.